Later today will be the 89th Oscars. The news this morning before the awards ceremony is the death of Hollywood actor Bill Paxton at age 61, supposedly dead due to complications from surgery. This is a shining example of what murder by numbers is if Bill Paxton is truly dead. Let's get into why Bill Paxton really died yesterday, February 25th, 2017. If his death is true, it couldn't have been an any more fitting date for him to pass. As I'm routinely explaining, around award ceremonies, around sports championships, there are always suspicious deaths that are either ritual sacrifices or faking deaths by the numbers. Perhaps this is the way Bill Paxton retires, never to make another movie because he's dead, with an asterisk next to it. So anyhow, the story says he died yesterday, February 25th, from surgery. Reminds of the Joan Rivers details. Since Joan Rivers has died, a number of people have seen her in the public. It's been documented online. This past Christmas, it was a big deal that she put out a tweet standing in front of a Christmas tree, and the news headlines were, "Is Joan Rivers really dead?" The same media that reported she died is now, over Christmas, this most recent Christmas, asking if she's really dead. Anyway, Bill Paxton died yesterday, a date with 44 numerology. We always see 44 show up around death. Most common number to find around death again and again. The word kill has gematria 44. So does the name Bill Paxton, his Hollywood name. The word execution 44. His death just before this ceremony, the Oscar Awards. Notice he died at age 61. His birth name is William Paxton, which sums to 61. Dead at 61 on a date with 44 numerology when he's known as Bill Paxton. In reverse reduction, the name William Paxton also sums to 74, a number associated with killing and sacrifice. William Paxton 74, killing 74. I want to point out that Jesus and cross both sum to 74 and 61 in reverse. This past Wednesday, February 22nd, 2017, the big news was Kanye West in Hollywood. A statue was put up of him on the cross like Jesus, the crucifixion. That was a date with 61 numerology. They said that statue in Hollywood for Kanye West was related to these Oscar Awards, which will happen later today. So Bill Paxton dead at 61. The cause of death is complications due to surgery. Seen this before. Again, this is how Joan Rivers died, reportedly. Surgery in gematria sums to 113. That's a special number. Mainstream's 113, dishonest 113, perjury, green screen. 113 gets coded into a lot of movies. It's the number of the Scottish Rite Freemasons. It's Scottish Rite Freemasonry that runs this nation, largely runs Hollywood. Also interesting, Academy Awards have gematria of 118. I was looking at this yesterday and speculating about who we would read about dead today. I had no doubt that we'd be reading about a dead celebrity. It's clockwork with these rituals and ceremonies. There might even be another dead one before the day's over. Maybe more than one more. And no one will bat an eyelash. Everyone will just say, "Oh, what a coincidence." That's how it is every single award ceremony. I've been here for 3 years straight exposing this murder by numbers pattern. Almost no one cares. Almost everyone just thinks it's a coincidence. But anyway, Academy Awards 118. The word ceremony has gematria of 118, so does death. Again and again, we're showing the same numbers next to suspicious deaths. 44, 38, 118. We were talking about Prince last February, how he might die next after his girlfriend Vanity, who died just before the Grammys. We were talking about those exact numbers on Prince: 38, 44, 118. Prince died by all of those numbers, dying on the 44th parallel in an elevator, elevator 118, Prince's full name 118, Vanity's cause of death, gematria of 118. Bill Paxton was born May 17th, 1955. May 17th is the 137th day of the year, the day that leaves 228 days left in the year. Bill Clinton's biological father, William Blythe, a different William, murdered by the numbers on this date in 1946. Bill Clinton was born Bill Blythe. A lot of people don't know that. His mother remarried into the Clinton political dynasty. Anyway, May 17th being the 137th day of the year, the day leaving 228 days remaining, is interesting because death has gematria of 228 as well. See that sometimes. 137 is the 33rd prime, and the year he was born was also a date with 33 numerology. You know, couldn't get any more 33 than that. Born on a date with 33 numerology on the 137th day of the year, 137, the 33rd prime number. His birth numerology, 96, the number for Freemason, 42, connected to the Oscars, also Freemason, 33, number of Freemason obsession, number of sacrifice, 77, the word theater equals 77. He's an actor. He's dead before these theater ceremony awards. The thing that stands out the most about his death is, of course, the gematria of 44, or not the gematria, the numerology. The kill number matching up with his name gematria. He has died 81 days before what would have been his 62nd birthday, or a span of 82 days. The word ritual has ordinal and reverse ordinal gematria of 81, dead 81 days prior, or a span of 82 days, 2 months and 23 days, kind of like 223, number of Freemasonry. CNN this morning, their story that they put out, the little news clip of him, Bill Paxton, filmmaking always my dream, from 2005. Look how long CNN puts out the story. 44-second story. CNN does this all the time in their news. If you click on the link, here it is right here, the 44-second story. CNN happens to also be channel 44 on Comcast, which is syndicated nationally. Their non-HD channel. They're located in Georgia, one of 2 states with the 44 gematria. Ted Turner equals 44. 44 is a significant number. Bill Paxton, dead by the numbers. If you missed the video I put out earlier this week on Kanye West and the crucifixion statue, I'll link that video below. I'll also link this blog post. A lot of interesting numbers coded into this story. Numbers that remind of Tupac Shakur, who died by the numbers in the past. Tupac and his entire Outlaws rap group have died by the numbers 38 and 118. Some even by 44, just like we talked about here. So repetitive throughout history how people die by these numbers. Just want to show you the date that this happened to Kanye West, or this story related to him. Date was 61 numerology, Jesus and cross, both 61, Kanye on the cross. This was connected to these Oscars, and now just before these Oscars, we get the death of Bill Paxton at 61. Fairly young age to die at, especially for a multimillionaire who has access to, the best doctors in the world. So they're saying tonight's theme at the Oscars, it's going to be a big night for African Americans who historically have been, they haven't gotten their due at the award ceremonies. Last year there was a lot of focus on racism. So anyhow, I noticed in CNN's article, they pointed out that the first ever black person or African American, I really honestly hate the term African American. I think it's stupid and should just be thrown out. I do agree that black people aren't really black, but I mean, African American is just such a stupid term. In our society, now that we live in a even more diverse culture, there's a lot of people over here who are black who aren't from America, and people just refer to them as African American, and it drives them nuts. They're like, I'm not African American. I'm not even from here. But the white people are just so, or not white people, the American people are so conditioned to just say African American, African American. I think even most Americans think black people outside of Africa are African American. It's just such a dumb title. Yeah, like let's not focus on race, but a lot of us do have different color skin. African American, that's just a corny label. It's like calling all the white people European American. Who does that? Anyway, this black woman, she won it in 1940, 77 years ago. 77 years ago. Theater 77. It's a nation of actors. There's a reason Washington, D.C. is on the 77th meridian, and there's a reason so many actors go into politics. There's a reason so many athletes who are athletic actors go into politics. There's a reason acting is the highest paid job in the world. Anyway, interesting that it's 77 years since the first African American award, black award at the Oscars, and they're saying this year, there's going to be a lot of black winners 77 years later. The people who run Hollywood, the same people who run the money, the same people who run your government media, the Zionist Jews, the false Jews who've stolen the identity of the real Jews, and if you read the Bible, the real Jews got dark skin. Think about it. So that's it for now. What's funny is I got up this morning to make a video on The Wizard of Oz, and the headline from the other day about Donald Trump and the witches casting spells on him. I wanted to do a video on The Wizard of Oz, how we live in a nation of Jewish witches who do things by the numbers, such as the death of Bill Paxton. Anyway, that'll be my next video. I was supposed to be making that right now, but they already got the headlines out for who's dead this morning. All right, truth seeker. Until next time. Since we brought up African American, I want to remind you about this news story earlier this year. I have an older video on this if you want to go back and look. The film The Birth of a Nation about Nat Turner, it came out on the date October 7th, and it was reported that the film only made $7.1 million, which was disappointing. Look at the date October 7th. In most parts of the world, it's written 7/10, 710, 7.1 million. In history, Nat Turner was killed on November 11th, 1831, a date with 71 numerology. When you write out African American in gematria, it sums to 71, just like Birth of a Nation, and supposedly the film only grossed 7.1 million. His birthday, October 2nd, 10/2. That's a lot like 102. The Civil War began in the 102nd day of the year, April 12th, 1861. Slavery, using the alphabetic order, also sums to 102. Notice 42 has been stamped over black people throughout history. Slavery is 42 in reverse. The date Lincoln died was April 15th, 1865. At the end of the war, that's a date with 102 numerology. 102. Slavery. Nat Turner born on October 2nd. What it makes me go is any of this history real? Is all this made up bullshit by the numbers? Or is it just that this is how it's been done all throughout history? Making history, murdering people by the numbers, doing it on significant dates, maybe editing people's birthday in the history book so it has the numerological synchronicity. But it's no doubt that the Jews who run Hollywood and the media code everything by the numbers, from the money making of a film to the murder of a Hollywood actor to the joke about Kanye West on the cross. It's the same Zionist Jews doing it all. They control your media, all the information that gets out. When you just think about it, it's not too hard to see how it's